I'd like you to imagine for a minute that you had such earth-shatteringly unshakable confidence as a man that there literally wasn't a person alive that you would have that typical humdrum anxiety to overcome, to just talk to, approach, and have a genuine, authentic interaction with. Can you even imagine the freedom that that would offer you, the liberation, as it were? And this could masquerade in a number of different ways. Maybe there's a girl who happens to catch your eye and you'd like to get to know a little bit more. Or maybe for you, it's just, to be honest, another day at the office. Maybe it's a 9 to 5 and you're hit with a genuine idea of inspiration that is worth emanating to your coworkers and implementing to improve workflow. Something that could be a genuine win-win. But maybe like me, for the first 20 years of my life, you're experiencing such social anxiety, awkwardness, and stifledness that you just have this seemingly insurmountable barrier that you gotta push past. And in this video today, I'm gonna teach you how to push past that barrier. As someone whose mom in the 2nd grade on picture retake day had to come in just to get her son to smile. I want this so badly for you because the world that will open up to you will be akin to it literally becoming your oyster. I want you to feel at home in your life. I want you to feel like how I never used to. I never used to feel comfortable in my own skin. I was incredibly inflamed internally and anxious in my behaviors externally. And that really turns a lot of people off and becomes this self-fulfilling prophecy where other people don't respond to you as well as they would if you were comfortable with yourself. And I want you to be comfortable with every door that you open up and walk through and every room, if you choose to, reside in. I'm going to teach you how to be confident as a man at the core. So first things first, guys, there's a very insidious belief that we need to bust, because otherwise this is going to be the bottleneck. It is going to severely hold you back in terms of the level that you're going to be able to get to in this work, in terms of becoming a really grounded, granite-like, confident man. And the way this masquerades is something to the effect of, but what if I'm just not cut out for this? What if I'm cut from a different cloth? What if I'm cut from an inferior cloth? And I hope you guys will be able to genuinely garner some inspiration from my humble beginnings, which looked something like my mom when I was a teenager buying 5 different books about how to raise a well-adjusted child in spite of them being autistic, in spite of them having Asperger's syndrome, in spite of them having OCD tendencies that left them between a rock and a hard place, banging their head against the tabletop when they could not reconcile the seemingly chaotic world around them. I can remember just all of these odd idiosyncratic behaviors that I used to have, literally needing to have the Head and Shoulders shampoo and conditioner facing at just the right angle in the shower and having to be alphabetized amongst the various other cosmetic products. And I can just remember how discontented I would be when things weren't just in order, just in the way that I deemed them appropriate to be. And it wasn't just a matter of having these OCD tendencies in my home life, but it was a matter of being fundamentally discontented and unable to understand other people emotionally. I had no emotional intelligence. And you can imagine navigating a world like that where you're just so inside of your head for the first 20 years of your life that you're not even able to connect with people, man. Because on the one hand, I could say, look at everything you're going to be able to get from becoming super confident as a man. Think about all of the attractive women that you're going to be able to attract into your life. Think about all of the business opportunities, the career promotions, all of these benefits without a word in regards to the actual state, the quality of your mind, the peace of mind, the equanimity, the wholesome nature of your life, actually being able to relate to people, understand them, have empathy, be a better listener, a better communicator, be a better son, a better brother, a better lover. Thinking about these higher level values and aspirations that you could potentially have, and not just the lower level, which is important as well, but thinking about how this is going to improve every area of your life. And if you hold this limiting belief, you're never going to be able to get to the promised land. But see me as someone who overcame these obstacles and as someone that you could emulate and garner inspiration from to get you from where you are now to where you want to be. The way that we're going to bust this belief is by severely scrutinizing the self-image. And that is to ask the question, how well do we actually know ourselves? I believe it was the summer of 2014. And I worked for this company called Goodwill. Maybe you've heard of them. Maybe you haven't. I was a DSP, a direct support professional, and I was working with guys with brain traumatizing injuries at a rehabilitation home. And one of my coworkers was unusually high vibe, and I'm immensely grateful for her to this day. Linda Austin. And what Linda saw was something that I couldn't even see in me, man. And this is so important, you guys. There's something that I see in you that you don't even see in yourself. You can imagine you're driving along and you've got a certain blind spot in your mirror, but somebody else sees what you cannot see because they have a different vantage point. And Linda saw something in me. I'm not sure if it was my audacious nature. We would do grocery shopping, this guy Gary, for like 5 or 6 of the residents of this home. And in one fell swoop, not even to impress anybody, literally just to see if I could one-up myself, I would try to do the grocery haul in one trip. I think she could see the heart of a lion that lay dormant from within me. And the fact that I just needed to update my mental model of myself to make it one-to-one with what lied dormant inside. And I truly believe that for you as well. She introduced me to the first ever self-help personal development book that I read by Maxwell Maltz. It's called Psycho-Cybernetics. And this author precisely delineated this concept of the self-image. And as an oral surgeon, he realized firsthand that it didn't matter what sort of scar, malformation that he would correct within the face. It was these patients' self-image that was incongruent, was inconsistent, even post-op, post-operation, post-surgery. And the greatest thing that I garnered from this book is that my self-concept was completely fabricated. It was total bullshit. And I bet yours is too. If you're not able to express yourself authentically, if you're not joyous, bright-eyed, and bushy-tailed, if you're a little bit shy, stifled, and introverted, I bet that your self-concept isn't even accurate. Let's say you're 20 years old right now. You cannot tell me that after 20 years of life on planet Earth, that you don't have something to bring to the party of life. And that's very important to recognize, is that you have a uniqueness within you. You have a story. You have a number of stories, a number of life occurrences that are back-end optimized, that are very interesting. It's just you're not front-end optimized. You haven't cultivated the charisma to effectively convey these stories, and you just don't have the confidence right now to work on your charisma. But realize that that charisma, that confidence is a skill. It's a sword that you can sharpen. But to actually be bought into that, you have to work on your self-concept. Just go in your mind and visualize what that is for you. How do you actually see yourself? What is the gap between how you see yourself now and how you want to see yourself? And realize that that gap, that delta, is surmountable, and you can overcome it with action. And that's what we're going to talk about in just a minute, are the actions, the activities that are akin to you casting a vote for that character that you want to become. And eventually that delta is going to become overcome by the actions that you take to overwhelm the thinking mind. You're going to give your brain proof and not just promises that you actually are that person. Because every time you take these actions that I'm going to be expounding upon, it's like you're casting a vote for the character that you want to be casted as, for the character that you want to play life as. And eventually, the vote is going to be unanimous, and you're actually going to become that person. So we need to recognize that if we keep doing what we've always done, we're going to keep getting what we've always gotten. And so when we think about that delta between your self-concept now and the way that you want to view, the way that you want to perceive yourself, you have to think about what would that person be doing, the person that you want to be. What sort of behaviors would they engage in? Would they actually be shy? Would they have their head down? Would they be unable to make good eye contact with strangers? Or would they just have loose but confident body language? Would they walk around with their head up, their shoulders back, and able to make good eye contact? Because the behaviors that you need to engage, to cast a vote for the person that you want to become, simply have to be the behaviors of the person that you want to be. There is a behavior, a habit, that if you engage for the next 30 days without missing a single day, is going to supercharge your journey. This is going to help you level up in no other way. You've heard it before. It's nothing sexy, but you got to get it done. Meditate. Take time. Set it aside every single day. This is paramount. Find a quiet environment devoid of distraction and just touch base with yourself, man. Just notice things. Notice the monkey mind. You have to have a monkey mind before you can have a monk mind. Notice these things, these thoughts, these sensations, your breath. Notice the subtleties of such. I can guarantee that any resistance that you've had, any analysis paralysis, anything that's getting in the way of where you are and the thing that you want to do, cold approaching an attractive girl, for example, is fundamentally derived from your inability to get present to the moment. If you were actually present, residing neither in the future nor in the past, you were truly here in a flow state, I can guarantee that you would have not only more satisfaction of life, but way better results. You wouldn't be thinking about the 50,000 possible outcomes of cold approaching an attractive girl. You would just do it because you want to share that good energy, that good state. But in order to have something to share, you have to work on yourself. You have to sit with yourself and meditate, and you have to civilize the mind and make body the savage. So growing up throughout my childhood and adolescence, I've always had a fascination with recreational vehicles. I actually had the very unique childhood experience of being able to snowmobile all the way to school. Like literally parking my snowmobile outside of the school, senior privs, study hall, could go out on the lake and kind of rat around a bit. So I've driven snowmobiles, dirt bikes. In my adolescent years, I had a crotchet rocket for a few years. That was very fun as well. And there's this saying that there's no replacement for displacement. And what that means is, yeah, you can take a 700cc snowmobile and you can mod it out, you can improve the exhaust, the carburation, but at the end of the day, it's only 700 cc's. And likewise, in terms of getting better with strangers, more charismatic and socially savvy, there's no actual substitution for doing the thing, for actually approaching new people. So cold approach is going to be the staple habit for anyone who's actually serious about being better at putting themselves out there, improving their emotional intelligence, their communication skills. You have to actually do the thing. And if you do have this anxiety that you have to overcome, there really is no better way than to actually do it. You know, I can remember getting into low-level cliff jumping, you might say, as well throughout my adolescent years. And I can remember just the resistance, the aversion to actually taking the leap of faith, as it were, off of, for example, the set of train tracks that I used to jump off of. And the truth was, I could stand there for 10, 20, 30 minutes. It didn't matter intellectually which hoops I jumped through. At the end of the day, I just had to take the step and actually do it. And there was never a time that I actually did that and regretted it. That's one thing that you're gonna realize, is that once you overwhelm the thinking mind and you just start taking action and approaching people, it feels good. And the quality of mind that gives you, the flow state and the actual skills that you can use later down in your life, is something that you're gonna be eternally grateful for. You probably heard the saying before that confidence comes from competence. So maybe you might be wondering right now, well, why would I on earth be confident at the core as a man if I'm not yet competent, for example, attracting women, talking to strangers, emanating myself authentically? How could I possibly be confident if I have not yet cultivated competence? And there's a mindset shift that I'd like you to consider adopting that will help you circumnavigate this. Because what you're not realizing is that competence takes a number of different forms. And what you have to realize is that in any interaction that you engage, you have to be offering something without expectation. And that's why I believe that the staple habit has to be meditation, because the thing that you can offer that virtually no one else is going to be able to nowadays is your attention. How many people do you know who can hold frame, hold a steady gaze, be an active listener, and not suffer from the ramifications of the monkey mind, not having to contend with the consequences of such in this age of dopaminergic distractions? I truly believe meditation has to be the staple habit, because that's going to be the thing that differentiates yourself. That is the competence that nobody else is going to be able to contend with. So when you go to cold approach somebody, just realize how incredibly rare, how precious of a commodity you are, that diamond in the rough, because virtually no one else is going to be able to have that stillness, that tranquility of mind to give their full attention to somebody else. So that's gonna wrap this one today, my friend. I hope you're really bought into this, man. I hope you can see the vision as bright and compelling as I do. And maybe if that vision is so overshadowed right now by the colossal whopping delta between where you are now and where you'd like to be, this seemingly colossal, insurmountable gap that you've got to bridge, I hope you at least have the intuition to appreciate that I can see something in you right now that you can't even see in yourself. Just like my aforementioned coworker, Linda, could see this blind spot in me that I had, this fighting spirit, this heart of a lion and warrior from within, this kid who wanted to make every weekly grocery haul in just one trip, that there's so much potential left on the table for you. And you just need to follow the map here. You just need to do the behaviors, the activities. You need to keep casting a vote for the character you want to be until it's a unanimous outcome. And I'd invite you to subscribe to this channel as a reminder of where you're headed, because the day-to-day BS, the nonsense that you're going to have to contend with, is going to distract you and confer an amnesia of sorts. And you need some ground zero, some foundation, some base, a resource that you can turn to, that you can come back to remember, oh, that's right. There's a brighter future for me. There's light at the end of the tunnel. There's serenity on the other side of struggle. I love you. I believe in you. We're going to go to the promised land together. Drop a comment down below. Like and subscribe, my friend, for more content like this. And until next time, find your freedom. Peace.